The Earth is sending distress signals. Wildfires, droughts, and melting glaciers. Can we reverse the damage? Explore the harrowing effects of climate change. It's a wake-up call. Global emergency. Climate Tracker on WION World is One.
Vielleicht nur als 5%.
American joke, and you're watching Race to Power on WION World is One. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says that the people of Bihar have voted for a developed and prosperous state by breaking all records as he addressed supporters at the BJP headquarters. The NDA is headed for a sweeping victory, with trends indicating the ruling alliance is on course to cross the 200-seat mark. And in the US, the House will vote next week on a bill requiring the DOJ to release all unclassified Jeffrey Epstein files after a discharge petition forced Speaker Mike Johnson to allow it. Exit polls predicted a sweep for the NDA in Bihar, but on counting day, the sweep turned into a tsunami, one that drowned the opposition Grand Alliance and handed the NDA a record-breaking mandate. As of now, the Election Commission has declared results of 147 seats, of which the NDA has won 125 seats, well past the majority mark of 122 in the 243-member Assembly. The Grand Alliance has won 17 seats, and counting of votes on the remaining seats is underway. Poll debutant Prashant Kishore and his Jan Suraj party have failed to secure even a single seat. The last time an alliance won over 200 seats in Bihar was back in 2010. It was the JDU and BJP leading the NDA back then as well. They won 206 seats in the 2010 election.
नरेंद्र मोदी, देखिए प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी का स्वागत अभिनंदन हो रहा है। नरेंद्र मोदी, नरेंद्र मोदी, नरेंद्र मोदी, 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 मोदी।
A short while back, Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited the BJP headquarters in New Delhi. Addressing the victory speech, the Prime Minister vowed that the years of Django Raj will never return to Bihar.
Narendra Modi, Narendra Modi, Narendra Modi, Narendra Modi, दोनों हाथ उठा के नरेंद्र मोदी, नरेंद्र मोदी, नरेंद्र मोदी, नरेंद्र मोदी, नरेंद्र मोदी।
बिहार के चुनाव में जब मैं जंगल राज की बात करता था, कट्टा सरकार की बात करता था, तो आरजेडी के लोग कभी विरोध नहीं करते थे, लेकिन कांग्रेस वालों को बहुत चुभता था और बहुत मोदी क्या बोल रहे हैं, ऐसा क्या बोल रहे हैं। लेकिन आज मैं फिर कहना चाहता हूं, मैं कहूंगा अब वापस नहीं आएगी कट्टा सरकार, अब वापस नहीं आएगी, अब वापस नहीं आएगी, अब वापस नहीं आएगी। साथियों, बिहार के लोगों ने विकसित बिहार के लिए मतदान किया है। बिहार के लोगों ने समृद्ध बिहार के लिए मतदान किया है।
It's also turning out to be a race between the NDA allies, the JDU and the BJP for the opposition of the single largest party. The BJP has won 75 seats so far and is leading in 15. Meanwhile, the JDU has won 54 seats and is leading in 31. If the JDU converts the rest of its leads, it will almost double its tally of 43 that it won during the previous election in 2020. That will be a major boost to Chief Minister Nitish Kumar, who is vying for a record 10th term. Another key NDA ally, Chirag Paswan's Lok Janshakti party, made a strong show. It is currently leading in 6 seats and it has already won 13 seats. This is a major turnaround from its performance in the 2020 Assembly election when it won only 1 seat. Back then, it did not fight the election with the NDA. The opposition Grand Alliance suffered one of its worst electoral defeats in Bihar, with both the RJD and the Congress party posting a dismal performance. The RJD, which had emerged as the biggest party in the last election, has won only 16 seats and is leading in 8 seats, a far cry from the 75 seats it won in the last election. The Indian National Congress also seems to have been decimated in this election. The Congress had fielded candidates in 61 seats in this election, but the party is leading in just 3 seats and has won 3 seats so far. The party had won 19 seats in the last assembly polls. As the mandate in NDA's favor becomes fairly clear, here is a list of reactions from parties that have emerged victorious as part of the ruling alliance.
मैं बहुत खुश हूँ कि लोगों का विश्वास जो उन्होंने मुझ पर जताया और इसको लेकर के मैं आगे बढ़ रही हूँ, तो ये जीत मेरी नहीं है, उन सभी लोगों की जीत है जिन्होंने मुझ पर विश्वास किया। एक समाज में एक ऐसा चेंज जो माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी बिहार में जो लेकर के आए, लड़कियों को सेफ महसूस कराना और लड़कियों को जो रिप्रेजेंटेशन मिलना चाहिए उस चीज़ को लेकर के, मतलब महिलाओं के लिए जो उन्होंने काम किया है, इसने मेरी जर्नी को आसान बनाया। और जितना नरेंद्र मोदी जी को लोग प्यार करते हैं, ये पूरी जर्नी में मुझे बहुत राहत मिली, क्योंकि लोगों का विश्वास उन लोगों के साथ है, हमारा एनडीए सरकार के साथ है।
केसरिया की जीत है, ये मेरी जीत नहीं है अकेले, और ये संभव हो पाया है हमारे नेतृत्व आदरणीय नीतीश कुमार जी और आदरणीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी की वजह से, आदरणीय चिराग पासवान जी, आदरणीय जीतन राम मांझी जी, आदरणीय उपेंद्र कुशवाहा जी की वजह से, और जो हमारी सरकार ने लगातार लोगों के लिए किया उसकी वजह से।
बिहार और बिहारियों में वो बुद्धि है, वो क्षमता है कि सही समय पर सही फैसला लेते हैं। ये एक लंबे समय के बाद बिहार में डबल इंजन की सरकार को मजबूती देने का एक ऐसा लम्हा आया, जहां एक तरफ मेरे प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी की सोच, तो वहीं मुख्यमंत्री नीतीश कुमार जी के अनुभव का गठजोड़ अगले 5 साल मजबूती से बिहार को विकास की राह पर आगे लेकर जाने का काम करेगा।
Mr. Giridhar Jha is an editor at Outlook India Hindi, is now joining us from Patna. Mr. Jha, thank you very much for your time. The counting is still underway. What are your predictions and the outlook for the Bihar elections going forward? NDA is still in the lead.
Thank you very much. I think the results are on expected lines, in the sense that NDA was always expected to win this election, but the margin of victory has been, tremendous. Nobody had expected NDA to cross 200 marks. So it's a kind of landslide victory for Nitish Kumar and BJP. They have been together for so many years. So it was, there was no doubt that Nitish Kumar and BJP, they were going to win this election, but the margin of victory is really surprising.
Mr. Jha, looking forward, what do you foresee in this state? Because this election was a very much awaited election in India, and now that it has passed, looking forward, what next for the state?
So, you know, the Bihar is one of the underdeveloped states of India, and everything was at stake for both BJP and JDU, because Nitish Kumar has been the chief minister for the last 20 years, except for a brief period of 9 months when he had chosen his successor, Jitan Ram Manjhi, to be the chief minister. So there was a lot of stake because Nitish Kumar is obviously, he was considered to be past his prime. But he was the development man for Bihar for the last 20 years. BJP had also a lot of stake because they wanted to win this election at any cost, because more important elections like Bengal coming up. So there's a big shot in the arm for this alliance.
Mr. Jha, finally, what lessons can the Congress or the opposition in India learn from these elections?
They have a lot of introspection to do. The Congress had lost its ground in Bihar, I think, more than 25 years when it joined Lalu Yadav, and from being the ruling party in the 80s to becoming main opposition party in the Bihar in the early 90s, it became a secondary ally to Lalu Yadav, and since then it has never recovered. So Congress, you know, they fought 60 seats in this election and they have performed very badly in this election. So they will have to do a lot of introspection as to what went wrong. Also for RJD, Tejasvi Yadav was supposed to win this election, but he has the problem that he has the advantage of being Lalu Yadav's son, and he has also the disadvantage of being Lalu Yadav's son. So he has the legacy of Lalu Yadav's social justice, but he has also to shoulder the blame for all the allegations of Jungle Raj, the lawlessness in Bihar that existed during the reign of Lalu Yadav and Rabri Devi in Bihar. And he is yet to shake off that burden.
All right, Mr. Jha, thank you very much for all your insights and for talking to us today.
Thank you very much.
Let's move on now. While all eyes were on Bihar today, results of bypolls to 8 assembly constituencies have also been announced. In Jammu and Kashmir, Budgam, the ruling National Conference suffered a massive setback after losing the bypoll to PDP candidate Aga Sayed Muntazir. Budgam has long been a bastion of the National Conference. The party had hitherto won every election it contested in this constituency. Another high-profile political battle played out in Telangana's Jubilee Hills, where Congress's candidate Naveen Yadav emerged as the winner, defeating rival candidates from the BRS and the BJP. The fight was a prestige battle for the ruling Congress after having come to power in the state in 2023. In Punjab's Tarn Taran, Aam Aadmi Party's Harmeet Singh Sandhu won the bypoll with 42,649 votes after defeating rival candidates from the Shiromani Akali Dal and the Congress. The victory is a shot in the arm for the ruling Aam Aadmi Party as it comes just a year before the 2027 assembly elections. And lastly, in Rajasthan, the Congress party secured a comfortable victory in the Anta Assembly bypoll, defeating Bharatiya Janata Party's Mopal Suman and independent candidate Naresh Meena. Let's move on now. The shadow of Jeffrey Epstein's scandal is still following Donald Trump closely. The latest tranche of released emails has pushed a few Republican lawmakers to support a congressional vote on releasing the Epstein files. The development comes on the heels of House Leader Mike Johnson announcing a vote next week on the demand from Justice Department to release the files. This demand comes as a chain reaction to 3 emails which Democrats on House Oversight Committee released. These emails suggest that Trump knew more about Epstein's sexual abuse than he has previously acknowledged. In one of the emails dated April 2021, Epstein wrote to Ghislaine Maxwell, his longtime associate, and was later convicted of sex trafficking, that Trump spent hours at his house with one of the victims. Now there is fresh political pressure on the US president after 2 women Republican leaders have reportedly refused to withdraw their backing for the critical vote on Epstein files. The two Republican lawmakers under spotlight are Lauren Boebert, a Republican representative from Colorado, and Nancy Mace from South Carolina. A New York Times report now says that the Trump administration had reached out to both leaders to try and persuade them into reversing their position on the Epstein files. But both bids appear to have failed. Two other Republican lawmakers, Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massie, have already signed a petition for the release of the files on the late disgraced financier. Greene, who is otherwise known as a staunch Trump supporter, has repeatedly called for the Justice Department to unseal the files. So the House is going to discuss this Epstein files. It's something that is haunting U.S. President Donald Trump, and how he's going to deal with the files, or how he's going to deal with the revelations that have been laid out by the Democrats, is something that Americans are keenly watching, and his MAGA constituency is also worried that the president may not be able to avoid the revelations that are coming out from the Democrats. Let's talk to our correspondent, Susan Teherani. She's now joining us live from New York. Susan, tell us more about this. Tell us about this. Sorry for that. Susan, tell us more about this act that really arm-twisted the Speaker, Mike Johnson.
Yeah, so Mike Johnson and the House is expected to put a vote on the floor for the full disclosure of whatever Justice Department has regarding the Epstein files and information related to that, which you and our viewers remember a few months back, Pam Bondi, despite promising the release of all of them, held back. Now, it seems that this vote is going to go to the House. There are some Republicans who will side with the Democrats, and it's very likely that this is going to get passed. However, there's going to be hurdles for the public to get this information ultimately, because then it has to go to the higher House chamber, which is the Senate. The Senate is controlled by the Republicans. Will the Senate also vote on releasing these files and these communications as well? That's the big question. But nonetheless, it does put President Trump in a peculiar situation, because it's somewhat of a rebellion from his MAGA base inside the House. And Speaker Johnson is keen on going ahead with it.
All right, Susan Teherani, let's see how this pans out or plays out. Thank you. U.S. President Donald Trump is rolling out a series of headline-grabbing economic ideas as he battles growing concerns over the cost of living crisis, an issue that analysts say could hurt Republicans in the 2026 midterms. From $2,000 tariff-funded dividends to 50-year home loans, the proposals are raising eyebrows in Washington and beyond. The cost of living is back at the center of U.S. politics after Democrats secured major victories in New Jersey, New York, and Virginia last week, wins powered by voter anger over rising prices of essentials like food, fuel, and housing. President Trump, now under pressure within or from within his own Republican Party, has flatly rejected suggestions that affordability is becoming a political liability. In a tense exchange with reporters, Trump insisted, "I don't want to hear about affordability," arguing that inflation is the fault of former President Joe Biden. Still, Trump's advisors and his Make America Great Again MAGA base appear aware of the political risk. The White House has been spotlighting efforts to lower the cost of groceries and gas, even pointing to a recent announcement on reducing prices of certain weight loss drugs. A senior official says Trump will now ramp up domestic travel to sell his economic message across the country. Top Trump economic advisor Kevin Hassett, director of the National Economic Council, says the recent shutdown cost 60,000 non-federal jobs, drained $15 billion per week from the economy, added up about $92 billion in total losses, and could shave 1.5 percentage points off U.S. GDP in the December quarter. These numbers sharply contrast to the White House's public assurances that the economy remains strong. and there is more pressure building on the fiscal front. The interest expense on the U.S. national debt has surged to a record $1.2 trillion over the past year, more than doubling in just 4 years. For the first time ever, the U.S. government is now paying more in interests on its debt than it spends on national defense. A shift economists say underscores the rising cost of high rates and long-term borrowing. One of the most eye-catching proposals, a $2,000 dividend for every American, supposedly funded by Trump's global tariff program, but U.S. Treasury data tells a different story. Customs revenues, including tariffs, totaled $179 billion from January to September, far from the trillions Trump claims are available to distribute. And the Supreme Court is reviewing whether some of the tariffs are even legal. Trump has also floated another dramatic idea, 50-year mortgages extending the current 30-year cap. Trump argues it would simply lower monthly payments, but critics, including some of his own supporters, warn it would also saddle homeowners with decades more interest, costing far more over a lifetime. U.S. media reports senior White House staff were furious that FHFA Director Bill Palt discussed the idea publicly before internal consultations were complete. And Trump is targeting healthcare. He wants government subsidies under Obamacare, currently paid directly to insurance companies, sent straight to Americans instead. Trump says this would let people pick their own plans instead of in his own words, funding money-sucking insurance companies. But there are no details yet on how such a system would work or how it would avoid destabilizing insurance markets. Hours after Pakistan President Asif Ali Zardari approved the contentious 27th constitutional amendment, two senior judges of the Supreme Court tendered their resignation in protest, alleging that the new constitutional amendment undermines the constitution and compromises the independence of the judiciary. Justices Mansoor Ali Shah and Athar Minala stepped down from their posts on Thursday, calling the amendment a grave assault on the Constitution of Pakistan. Justice Mansoor Ali Shah, in his resignation letter, said the amendment dismantles the Supreme Court of Pakistan, subjugates the judiciary to executive control, and strikes at the very heart of our constitutional democracy. Justice Athar, in his resignation letter, said he had sworn to uphold the Constitution and not merely a constitution. Minala also pointed out that prior to the passage of the 27th Amendment, he had written to the Chief Justice of Pakistan expressing concerns over what its proposed features meant for their constitutional order. The controversial bill significantly increases the powers of the Field Marshal Asim Munir. The revised Article 243 establishes a new post, the Chief of Defense Forces, that will be held concurrently by the Chief of Army Staff. This effectively gives the Army Chief command authority over the Pakistan Air Force and the Pakistan Navy. It also curtails the powers of the Supreme Court by establishing another court above it. Under the amended legislation, a federal constitutional court will be set up to deal with matters related to the Constitution, while the existing Supreme Court would deal only with traditional civil and criminal cases. The bill was passed with lightning speed in less than a week, even as the political opposition, including Imran Khan's PTI and some civil society members, vehemently opposed the bill. Thank you for watching this edition of Race to Power on WION The World is One. Stay with us.
राष्ट्रीय स्वयंसेवक संघ To some, it's an extreme ideology. To others, it's the very soul of India. To some, it's rebellion. To others, it's a principle of nation building. Coming soon to challenge perceptions in RSS centenary year, Kesariya